My name is Michelle. This is Actuarial, my actuarial YouTube channel, the channel that has been largely neglected. I am currently sitting in my hotel room in Mexico right now, and I set myself a goal to make at least one YouTube video while I'm here on my vacation, and I will still try to make a video that gets filmed and edited while I'm on vacation, but the easiest thing for me to do is to make a live stream. And I love easy. I need to make things easy for myself because otherwise I will not do it. So I set myself a little outline. I wanted to talk about returning to actuarial work because that's a big theme of the last 5 months of my life. And that's the last time that I filmed a video. So I thought I would just chit chat about it. The first thing I just want to talk about is like who I am because I haven't been here for so long. You might not even know who I am. So my name is Michelle. I will have been working full-time as an actuary 9 years in March. I started off working in claims analytics. So actuarial work, but with the goal of looking at claims to find leakages, to try to find ways to make things more efficient, to put actuarial models on top of claims operations. I did that for about 2.5 years. I then spent 5.5 years in personal lines pricing. So coming up with insurance prices for car and home insurance. I love pricing. Pricing is my home. I love personal lines. I love large databases full of homogeneous data. This is just like my happy place. The big change in my life was that in January of this year, I started a 6-month sabbatical. So I didn't work from January to June of this year. If you do have questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'm happy to make other videos about it or answer you in the comments. But I took 6 months off, which was amazing. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in this video. And then now, once I came back, it was a really good opportunity to switch from my pricing life to reserving. So in actuarial work, there are two big streams of being an actuary, because with an insurance company, you sell the insurance policy before you know how much the claim is, and then someone may or may not have a claim, and then you have to reserve for it. So in the pricing work, you're deciding how much to charge for an insurance policy before you know whether or not they're going to have a claim. And on the reserving side, you're making sure that you set aside enough money such that you can pay for those claim liabilities once they pop up. So I switched from 5.5 years of pricing, my home, my bread and butter, my happy place, to reserving, where I'm new and a beginner. And I just want to talk all about that. So the first thing I want to do is just talk about my sabbatical. I recommend not working to everyone. There's so many people that I've spoken to who said they could never do it. They think it'd be so bored, and I respect that. If that's not your path and your journey, then it's not for you. But for me, not working was the best life decision I've ever made. I recommend it to everyone. I used to say things like, if I won the lottery, I would still want to keep working because I'd still need some sort of purpose. I don't know about that anymore. I think I would find purpose elsewhere. I think I can find things to fill my day without having to sit in a cubicle. That's my new take on life. But alas, I, like all of us, am trapped in this capitalist world, and therefore I am back at work. Some things that I did on my sabbatical, the big trips were going to Mexico, where I am again now. So I was there in January. It's December, so second time in Mexico this year. My big trip was to Bali and Vietnam, which was amazing, so warm. I met so many lovely people. First thing I did was a yoga retreat in Bali, and then I did a tour around Bali, and then I flew to Vietnam and did another tour around Vietnam. So that was super cool. You can see pictures of that on my Instagram at llpic, ELLELLEPIC, if you want to. If you don't, no sweat off my back. Let's see. No one is chatting with me, but if you guys do want to ask me questions, feel free. Otherwise, I'll just keep jibber jabbering. So my trips were really amazing. I had thought that I would go on another trip during my sabbatical, but I decided against it. I felt when I came back from Bali and Vietnam that what I really wanted was just to figure out what my life could look like. Sometimes what I'm craving in my soul is just like exploration and something different. And I got that and it was so wonderful. But what I wanted to do is to try out different aspects of life and then see how I could fit them into my real life. So I spent a lot of time journaling. I spent a lot of time trying different types of exercise. I went to different coffee shops. I went to different spas. Like I was just trying to have so much fun. I would go on Eventbrite and just sign up for random events. I would go to different talks at University of Toronto. I would go to different networking events. I went to like a sound bath, like all sorts of really random things just to try it and see what would fuel my soul and what would stick. Thankfully, exercise has been one thing that has really stuck in my life. I'm still trying to figure out the best split for exercise of how to incorporate it when my 9 to 5 slot is like work of where I fit my exercise in. Right now, I do have a personal trainer that I work out with twice a week. That's really fun. And then I work out other days by myself. So, yeah. Um, Now that I'm back, a sabbatical is a really good opportunity to switch teams, like I said, because all my projects were closed off or transferred to someone else because I was gone for 6 months. And I've been on the team for 5.5 years. Usually, on my team or at my company, people will stay on a team for average 3 years. So 5.5 is long. I was the go-to person on my team. I was the person with the institutional knowledge. I was the person who knew where to look for things. And being a beginner, I knew it would be hard, and it was really hard. On my old team, I had an amount of respect. People sought out my opinions, and now on my new team, I feel like I get no emails. I get invited to no meetings. No one cares what I have to say. No one needs to loop me in, and I'm being a little bit hyperbolic. I would say the best thing about my new team is my new boss. He is, and my old boss is lovely too. I love them both. I've been very blessed with bosses my whole career. I love my new boss though. He is really trying to be very supportive. He really wants to make sure that I'm happy and I'm doing things that I enjoy, but at the same time, like, I'm still a beginner. So I think one of the big challenges for me, not even talking about the work specifically, just talking about life in general, is it's really hard not knowing where to look for things. It's not easy for me to know, like, what database do I pull from? What's the documentation for this? Where can I find the documentation? Who is my key contact? Who can I talk to? And I am very dependent on other people, and that's very hard to be a beginner again. I knew it'd be hard, but living it has been very hard. So the work that I've been doing is specialty lines reserving, which is a huge change from personal lines pricing. So personal lines, large databases of very similar risks. You've got lots of cars to look at, you've got lots of homes to look at. With specialty lines insurance, it's very niche. You have much smaller amounts of data, you have a lot fewer claims. So when you're trying to figure out what to do with it, you're really going off a lot of feelings, a lot of different techniques, which is a very different experience for me. One of the things that I've been working with recently was like excess business. So you might think of like a health insurance policy where first you have a deductible, and so you pay your deductible and then the insurance covers a layer above it. For excess commercial policies, they might have a deductible where they're maintaining some, and then they'd have a primary insurance policy. So maybe their first insurance policy covers up to the first $10 million for losses. And then you can have an excess policy, so losses above $10 million. So recently I've been looking at things in like that excess world because we consider that to be specialty at my company. Specialty is just commercial insurance, but a little more niche, and the line of what's specialty versus what's not might differ between different companies. And just car insurance is so lower layers. Most of your losses are 5,000, 20,000, 50,000. I just only know from actuarial exams how to deal with excess layers, these lines of what do you even do, because your loss ratio, which is the percentage of premium going towards losses, the part of your premium that is actually going to pay claims, on an excess line, it's going to be like essentially 0% most years, and then it's going to be like 2000%. Because if you have those giant losses, your loss rate is going to go crazy. It's going to be bananas. And how do you regulate for that? And how do you deal with that? And how do you consider that? It's a new challenge for me. And I'm slowly getting used to it, but I'm not, I'm still figuring things out. I'm getting a couple hellos from the comments. So hello, Mason says that they recently switched to a new modeling team from valuation, and it's been challenging to be a beginner again. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we can both be beginners together, because who even knows? I've never. That's not true. In my pricing team, I was working with the modeling team, but I wasn't building the models. But when I was back in claims analytics, I did build a few GLMs using Emblem. That's a very nice software. I miss it. It's cute. The models that we built in the pricing team were in Python, and I don't really know Python. I was learning a little bit of Python on my sabbatical, but then I haven't used it in like 6 months, and so the Python went in and then it went out. But it's like a whole new fun adventure, and modeling is actually it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Most important thing with modeling is garbage in, garbage out. Make sure your data is good. You gotta spend a lot of time cleaning your data and understanding what's in your data and looking at your distributions of data. Yes, modeling. What else? Patrick says works in London market I can't read. Reserving in the London market. Yay! Another reserving actuary, and by another I mean someone who probably knows what they're doing, and me. Question, did you switch your company as well? If not, how does the switch work in terms of compensation, since it's a big shift? So there was no change in company. My company let me take 6 months off, and the deal was that if I take 6 months off, I'm committing to coming back for another 6 months. So I keep joking with people that in January I'm allowed to quit and I'm out of here. But no, I'm not actually planning to quit, because I have a defined benefits pension plan. So I'm never leaving. I'm going to be at this company for the next 30 years, and then I'm going to collect my sweet, sweet pension. But was there any shift in compensation? No, there was no shift in compensation. I got my annual, so we at my company get our annual raises in April, which is while I was on sabbatical. But I still got the annual raise, so I just wasn't paid it until July when I started to get paid again. So yeah, same amount of money. We have a rotation program, so the company believes that rotating roles is beneficial. In the short term, it's a little bit hard on the team that you're leaving because they lose their most experienced people, and it's a little bit hard on you because you become a beginner. But one, it helps with like employee retention, because people don't get bored as much because they have a lot of opportunities to try different things. It also helps drag knowledge around the company, because we are a very large company with a lot of different actuarial teams. It sort of breaks down the silos, because you have connections in your old team, you have that knowledge, you bring it forward, you learn from them, they learn from you. And so the short-term pain of people switching roles is, in my company's opinion and in a lot of companies' opinions, offset by the fact that you are like learning and bringing more value. So yeah, no change in compensation. If anything, a little bit more compensation, because I get an annual raise every year. Someone from South Africa. Hello, welcome. What type of math is done for the first year? Is it algebra, stats, or trig? I guess if you're asking about at university, it really depends on how your university degree is structured. I feel like I did a lot of calculus. I don't really remember what I did in university. What type of math is done in my first year of like working when I'm entry level? I'd say it's a lot of coding. It's a lot of coding, which requires a lot of, I'd say, some amount of algebra to understand how to code, to understand how to communicate with a computer. You do need to understand algebra. I'd say a lot of working with Excel, but like I'm not working with integrals. I'm not doing like trigonometry at work. Stats, yes, but I'd say that stuff is like built into models. You don't necessarily have to fully understand it. You don't have to remember necessarily like the formula for variance. You can just like type variance into Excel and it'll do the calculations for you. Are defined benefit pension plans common in the private sector in Canada? I would say a lot of companies are switching away from a defined benefits pension plan and more towards a defined contribution one. So having a defined benefit pension plan is a huge, huge perk of my company, and that's why I'm keeping my golden handcuffs for until I win $50 million in the lottery, you know? So for those who don't know the difference, a defined benefit pension plan is one where you are defining the benefit that you're going to get when you retire. So, for example, I get 2% per year that I work times like my salary when at the end, roughly. So if I work for 30 years and my salary when I'm retiring is $100,000, 2% times 30 years is 60% of $100,000 is $60,000 a year. And for the duration of my life, I will be getting that $60,000 from retirement until I die. That's a defined benefit pension plan. If I work longer, I make more, and if I earn more, I make more, etc. Whereas for a defined contribution pension plan, you put in X percent of your salary, your company will commit to putting in X percent of like a matching. So maybe if you put in 10%, they'll put in 5 or whatever that ratio is. And then how much you get out at retirement sort of depends on how the market does. And there are plenty of people who think that the market is going to do better than the defined benefit pension plan, and they choose that. It's also, if you want to move companies, easier to move that investment portfolio and maintain the value than having this defined benefit pension plan, which is tied to your employer, making sure that it stays funded. But for me, I don't have any plans to leave my company, and I love the certainty of knowing that the longer I work, the more money I'm making in retirement, and I will be set up for life. And so that is my plan. I recently had this conversation with some like more junior employees at my company where they were trying to decide between, because it was enrollment season, to decide what your benefits are. And I was like, this is the difference. They're like, we need someone to explain this to us because we didn't know. And I'm like, yeah, fair. It took me a while to learn how personal finance works too. A little difficult. That's the end of the questions right now. So the next thing that I wrote down is, do I like reserving? I'm gonna say I'm still trying to figure that out. A big part of reserving is the fact that it really impacts our financial results. It impacts how the company is viewed. If we set reserves, meaning the liabilities of the company, the money we still have outstanding to pay to our claimants, to our insureds, if we set that too high, it looks like we have very high liabilities. It looks like we are less profitable because we have all of these debts that we're going to have to pay out in the coming years. If you set them too low, then you risk going bankrupt or whatnot, not holding enough money in your balance sheet to support these claims once they start to come in. And so setting sort of a reasonable reserving level is important. Making sure that the right reserves end up booked in the system is very important. And so a lot of the work that we're doing is cyclical, is checking what reserves are booked in the system, making sure that they're good, making sure that next month's reserves that we're planning to book are good. So there's a lot of that cyclical work that honestly I don't mind. It doesn't take me very long to do those checks twice a month or whatever. That doesn't bother me. It's a little bit mindless. It's a little bit checking. To set the reserves, there are a few different things that we play with. Different assumptions that we can tweak for those who are familiar, things like LDFs, things like ELRs, things like weights between reserving techniques. And For me, I don't actually really care. Like, I will present a range of options to management, and I don't care about being the person who makes the decision. I'll give you 6 scenarios and say, I could go a little bit more conservative, and this is where, like, with my assumptions, this is a range, and this is a range of what it'll do to the reserves. Um, I don't love making decisions. I don't really care if it's, plus minus 500,000. Like, it's about the risk appetite of the company. I'm not the person setting that risk appetite. So I don't mind setting up the analysis and digging in and seeing if in a specific line of business we're seeing some weird trends, see if we're seeing some strange behavior. Like, I was looking into a line of business where I was seeing like drops in incurred losses, and I was like, what's going on? And I was looking and I was seeing that the claims team, what they're doing is they're reserving high at first, then determining if there was coverage, and then releasing the reserves because in certain claims there was no coverage. So like, I have fun digging into the data and trying to understand what's going on there, but actually deciding the final number of where we set our reserves, I don't really care, and I don't ever really want to be the person who's making the final decision because I don't care. I'll give you a range. I will play with a whole bunch of different assumptions and say, if we tweak this, and go in this direction, sure. If we go this direction, sure. But like, I don't care about picking LDFs. I don't. Maybe I should, and maybe my answer will change in a little bit, in a year or two. But right now, I don't really care. Upcoming, so in January and February, a big thing that we have to do is prepare the appointed actuary report. And this is a big report that goes to OSFI, the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions. They regulate the insurance companies and the banks and the financial institutions in Canada. And so it's this big report. It's my first year end and my first time prepping it. And people seem to make it, or are making it seem like this is going to be a ton of work. The management of the reserving department, the powers that be, have already split this report up into various sections and said, this person's the analyst on this section, this one's the peer reviewer, this one's the manager reviewer. So everything's already been planned out and set. I'm supposed to be peer reviewing 3 sections, and I'm not analyst on any, which is fun. It's fun coming in as an experienced, like, rotation in, as opposed to being a little analyst. So I don't think I'm going to have too much work like beginning of January, because I don't have those like first things to do, but I'm going to have a lot of like peer review work. But even so, like, only 3 sections, I don't feel like it's going to be that crazy unless I find things that are hard, or if the analysts need extra help, obviously I would jump in and do it if like other sections are too busy to get things done. So I'm not too scared for year end, but people are trying to make me scared for year end a little bit. So we'll see about that. Okay. Got a question. Is Canada good for actuaries pursuing SOA? Yeah. I think the 2 big actuarial associations in Canada are the Casualty Actuarial Society, that's the one that I'm a member of, and the Society of Actuaries. Both are good options, and being an actuary in Canada is pretty great for me. I like it. You're gonna make more money in the US, but then you have to live in the US, and like, no one wants that, you know? What are your life lessons from 2023? I'm in Mexico again, and one of the things that I really want to do while I'm here is a lot of journaling. I have my planner and just tons of scribbles. But a couple of things that really stuck with me, it's really important to introduce novelty into my life and do new, different things. Whether it's something as simple as trying a new restaurant, going to a different coffee shop, going to a random event, talking to different people. Like, I need differences. And that was probably the most fun that I had, was just saying, okay, what's something new and different that I'm going to do today? That's not something I usually do. And then if I didn't enjoy it, I don't enjoy it. Like, it's a bad night or whatever. But there are plenty of things that I go, oh, that was fun. I should integrate that into my life. So I think one of the big lessons from 2023 is novelty, diversity of experiences, trying different things, and just seeing what sticks. I think that was a big lesson for me from 2023. Um, I do have plans to plan for 2024. So while I'm on vacation here, I really want to think up what my 2024 goals are, start thinking about what I will put on my vision board, and then when I get back home, make a nice 2024 vision board and see if I can make it all cute and aesthetic. Is it possible that actuaries can contribute to fraud in a business if they are forced by higher authorities? I mean, like anything is possible. Actuaries definitely could, but as actuaries, we're bound by standards of practice. So, like, in theory, the standards of practice and our codes of ethics as actuaries should not allow it, but I mean, there are malicious actors everywhere. Um, the problem with being an actuary is you come out of school and you're doing math and there's a right answer and a wrong answer. And the joke with being an actuary is, give 10 actuaries the same data and you're going to get 10 different reserve estimates because there is no right answer because we're trying to predict the future. It's like when the weather people try to tell you whether or not it's going to rain, they're going to be wrong. They're always wrong. But you want to be wrong in a way that is reasonable. And so there's your range of estimates and your best estimate. And where you put your best estimate is going to be very dependent on reserving philosophies. It's going to be dependent on a lot of different things. Do we need to have a little bit of conservatism because there's concerns around changes and blah, 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 blah. So I think I don't know any actuaries at my company that I would say are unethical. I haven't encountered that. Is it possible? Probably. But I don't know any. I work in reserving for the Canada market. I'm willing to switch to pricing. Could you help me flag out a few important things? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, but I think pricing work is so fun. For me, what I loved about pricing is having worked there a long time. I was there long enough to see the whole value chain. So starting from analyzing our book of business, seeing what segments are growing, seeing what segments are unprofitable, making a proposal about what needs to change in our pricing algorithm, making that internal proposal, getting it approved, preparing for the filing, dealing with the regulators because prices, we can't just change them in Canada, we have to deal with regulators. So submitting it to the regulators, supporting our actuarial assumptions, making sure that it gets implemented, and then you can redo your analysis and you can really see that change in the book of business. If I increase prices on young drivers, then I'm going to see a decrease in the percent of new business that comes in as that segment because higher relative prices will lower growth. And so it's fun to take that all from start to finish. And I really enjoy pricing. I think it's my home, and I could definitely see a world where I go back to pricing, not immediately. They don't seem to want me back. I did. I went to my boss like 5 weeks ago and I said, for 20% raise, I will come back. And he did not take me up on it yet. And I said, for every week that he waits to realize that he needs me back, the raise goes up by 1%. So we're at like 25% right now for him to get me back. He doesn't seem to be running to get me back. But that's okay because I already have a job. So it's fine. I'm not offended that he doesn't realize that he misses me, but whatever. Would I consider working in capital modeling? I have never considered working in capital modeling, not because I'm opposed to it in any way, but it's just never been something that's come up for me. I don't think that I would bring any value at the beginning because I don't know anything about capital modeling yet, but it could be fun. But it's not top of my list right now. Fun fact, I've been following you since 2014. That's almost 10 years. Oh my goodness. That's a very long time to be following me. Fun fact, I started my YouTube channel, my first one, not this one, not Actuarial. I have another one that's like mostly private, but it's got like 300 private videos on it. My first video was November 1st, 2009. and I thought I'm gonna make my first video on the first of the month because this is gonna be like an anniversary event, you know, like I need to remember it, like this is gonna be the channel that changes my life. And I would make the most awful videos, like just I thought I was so funny, and I mean the quality of this isn't great. Like we're just rambling, but those ones were just awful, terrible. But all I wanted to do was make videos. And I just wish that I was still that girl who all she wanted to do was make YouTube videos, because now I can't bring myself to film and edit a video. And when I do finally do it, like when I made one 6 months ago, I had so much fun doing it. But I can't seem to motivate myself to make a YouTube video these days, even though I have ideas, even though I think there are things to talk about, I just can't do it. But yeah, I made my first video in 2009. It was terrible. And the reason I started making YouTube videos, amongst others, was Facebook had a feature back in the day, back when people used Facebook, that you could like film a video directly to someone's wall. So everyone would be able to see it. And I, in my manic state, apparently, was filming videos on people's Facebook walls like crazy. Like I would just post the most bonkers banana stuff, film it, put it on people's walls. And recently, in the last month, like 2 of my friends in their Facebook memories have come up these old god-awful videos of me from 2009 posting on their walls, and being like, and I'm like, I will not click on this. I do not want to see what my 18-year-old self was doing, because she was unhinged and needed to be reined in. And that is why all my old YouTube videos from 2009 and 2010 and whatnot are all private, because they are bananas. At one point, I made a video that got quite a few views, like 3,000 views, and that was huge for me back then. And it was like, I can't remember what the video was that I was just trying to copy, but it was something like how not to get kidnapped was like the original one, and her video was very funny. And I was like, I could make one on how not to get abducted by aliens. I don't remember if it was, hers might have been how not to get murdered or something. Like it was how not to something. And mine was how not to get abducted by aliens. And like, it was just a terrible video. Like I wasn't funny, I wasn't clever. But I was getting views, and I would get comments from people. I don't know if they were trolling or they were serious. They were like, I was looking for a real way to like not get abducted by aliens, and you're just making fun of this. Anyway, I had a lot of fun with that video, but that video is private. All my videos are private. I don't remember what I did, but gosh, past Michelle really, she really needed to like tone it down, okay? I'm much more zen, I'm much more chill. I'm 32 now, and yeah. I started watching your videos in high school. Now I'm in my last year of law school, almost became an actuary though. Oh my gosh. I feel like law school and actuary, like, both attract a high achieving student, so I can get why you would consider both. But like, I also feel like it's a very different thing to be in law school versus being an actuary. Like actuaries I think of as much more mathy businessy, whereas lawyers have to read. And maybe it's just because I'm like basically illiterate. No, I'm trying to read more. Can I show you guys stuff in my journal? So one of the pages that I made in my journal, and everything is copied, everything is stolen, is this one, where I've been writing down the books that I read. I haven't read very many. And then audiobooks, I have these like little headphones. Like I just listened to the first Harry Potter on audiobook. I've read Harry Potter a million times, but I just read it, so I put that one down. Isn't that cute? I love it. Also, my plan was to learn Python, and so there was like a path on data camp, and that I signed up for, and I only got this far into it. I didn't end up doing half of it. Can I show you guys my journal right now? And then see, I'm only going to show you some pages. But what I was doing was I was doodling a memory from every day of the year. So this was my January. I represented the CAS at a conference, and I went to Mexico and did smack with it and stuff. So that was fun. And then let me find February. I want to make a proper video about this, but right now we're just rambling. In February, I went to Bali. So did lots of Bali. This, if you go to my Instagram LLpic, some of the doodles that I doodle are also like pictures that I did put on Instagram. So like this one is a picture that I actually took. They had a pool at the yoga retreat that I was at, but it was like in direct sunlight. So I would go in the pool like holding an umbrella because I'm pale. I need shade. I went snorkeling. I climbed Mount Batur, but when I went snorkeling, I burnt my bum like it's nobody's business. Like it was so burnt. It was so red. I really messed up. If you're going snorkeling, wear sunscreen. And then let me find March. This is March. In March I was in Vietnam. So we went kayaking in Halong Bay. We went to mud baths. We went to Hanoi, saw the lanterns and got some clothes made. And then I went back home and met my little niece, who is like, oh my gosh, the most delicious little girl. She was born in February, and she has the most beautiful cheeks in the whole world. She's just, oh, she's so, I could just squish her right up. And then, let's see, what's the next month? April. Look, we're scrolling. Yeah. I have a hair in my mouth, sorry. This is high quality stuff. This was my April. I went for a coffee scrub. I got my bonus at work even though I wasn't working. I got my little niece. I was working out, went to a sound bath, like all sorts of cool stuff. Just trying to keep memories of what I did. May. In May, I went for a scalp facial with my boyfriend. I bought a cute dress. I went to a wedding. Not my wedding. I wish. Saw The Little Mermaid live action. Saw my little niece, but she was a crybaby that day. Just a little crybaby. In June, I went to OCA, which is the Ontario Conference of Casualty Actuaries. I posted a YouTube video. I went to a face fitness event, which I just like found an ad on Instagram and I was like, yeah, okay, let's go. It's near my house. I went to a spa. I got my lashes done, got a massage. Like, and that's fun. Not for you guys, because I can see how many people are watching and like the number is going down, and that's fine. But I can also see that I got 4 thumbs up. So thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. July is when I went back to work. We lost a little bit of color in July because I think my world was a little bit shaken. And then August, my cousins from California were in town, so I got to see them. And what else is there? I had some vertigo. Went out for drinks with coworkers. Got a standing desk. Oh, my boyfriend moved in with me. That's a U-Haul truck because my boyfriend moved in with me. Hey guys. I'm living with a boy now. Ew. I know. Gross. Boy germs. And then September. In September, I went to the CAS conference in Orlando, and because it's in Orlando, I went to Disney World. So I saw like the Cirque du Soleil at Disney Springs, which was, oh my gosh, so good. I love Cirque du Soleil. And I went to Epcot, and I went to Animal Kingdom, and then I had the CAS conference. What else did I do? Just nothing too exciting. Dentist, no cavities, just little memories. And then October. So in October, one of the things we did was we saw Coco, where it's one of those performances where they play the movie, but the Toronto Symphony Orchestra is playing the score live. It was so cool. My boyfriend had never seen Coco before, which if you haven't seen Coco, you should watch Coco. It's so cute. And what else happened in October? It was my birthday. I turned 32. went to a hot tub. We had Thanksgiving. That's my little niece. She dressed up like a little pumpkin for Halloween, and I can't get over it. She's so flippin' cute. And then in November, just more stuff, more doodles. And December is still in progress. Thank you for listening to that. I know it didn't interest a lot of you, but you guys can leave me questions in the comments if you wish. Are there any questions right now? I don't think so. Just people saying that it was a good way to record my memories. Thank you. Yeah, it's really been an awesome project, and I plan to bring it into 2024 with me. I think it's a really fun way to see all the things that I did, and lets me be a little bit creative, and it makes me really happy. I'm gonna end this live stream here because I've been rambling for way too long, but you guys are so kind to listen to my rambles, and thank you so much for watching. If you do have questions, leave them below, subscribe, thumbs up, all that good stuff. I really appreciate you very much. Thank you for calling. Bye.